Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this, your Libra September 2023 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James, clairvoyant, and I've done a number of one-on-one clairvoyant readings for Librans from different countries around the world over the course of the last month by FaceTime and Skype, and if you might be interested to see what's involved in that, just check out the information that's in the description box below. Now, I've also provided a number of healings as well. Now, my sole contract with respect to healing is that I cannot obtain any benefit from it myself. Therefore, healings are free, without obligation, no strings attached, and, well, that's it, free. Readings, of course, I have to charge for. Now, you or someone that you may know might be interested in healing, in which event, check out the information that's in the description, of course. Now, the subscribers know, and great to see you subscribers, thank you for having me in your home each month. I really do see you as being part of my extended family, truly I do. Now, look, as you know, we don't have any video advertisements breaking into this content, and so you get to enjoy the experience of the reading direct and uninterrupted, without intrusion of commercial videos. And we just take 5 cards. And the reason why we take 5 is because we don't just spend 2 seconds on a card. Rather, each of them has a lot to tell us, and we go into some depth, don't we? That's your experience. And so we just have 5, or we would run out of time. So let's get it underway, shall we, and see what there is in store for you. Oh, by the way, I might use my pen to point out some of what I think are some of the interesting aspects of the artwork, which may assist in interpreting the energies which are swirling around you at this period. So let's get it underway. 9 of discs. The Hierophant, the Moon, the 10 of Swords, and this is the Queen of Swords. I'm also going to take what I call a mood card. They were given to me. I normally don't use these sort of things, but I liked the art on it, and we might see what it brings up. So there it is. Learn from karma, indeed. Well, as is our usual practice, come, sit down here next to me. You and I will have a good, close look at the imagery on these cards together while I do the reading for you. Right, well, why don't we have a look at this? Now, this is interesting, this 10 of Swords. That's so at odds with everything that's so... Actually, I think that this is here as a message. It's not here as a prediction of something that's coming through. I think it's asking you to be aware of negative thinking. But I'm going to get to this Moon first, and then we might look at the 10 after that. Now, what's going on here? Down the bottom, there is the glyph for the sign of Pisces. Pisces is, of course, that feminine, mutable sign, and it is the most changeable of all the signs, changeable like the moon itself, I would say. And here we have a Hebrew letter. That Hebrew letter is, what do you call that, Kof, I suppose. I'll get to that in a second as well. Let's look to see what some of the imagery is here on the card. Well, what we have here is the gates are made of horn and made of ivory, and they are depicted as pillars shaped like the models of a hand and a head. Now, the hand is marked with the signs of palmistry. Maybe you've seen those model hands with palmistry lines on them. They look like that. And it's got the lines, if I'm not mistaken, of Neptune and the moon that are prominent there. And it is giving the sign of witchcraft by the looks of it, said to be a way to expel demons and ward off the evil eye. And the head has those markings that there are some people who can read bumps of the head. What's that stuff called? Is it phrenology or something like that? Anyway, that's what those lines are directed to. Now, passing between the gates that are here is a ship with a figurehead which is now look at these black wings. That's an honoroi. Now, the Honoroi were black-winged demons who lived near the gates to the underworld and stopped unworthy people getting into that other realm. And I can think that we also see here is what? Well, the moon, of course, is the sign of, well, it's associated very much here with Pisces. But look at this, from the back of this head model, I suppose, there is a lunar moth that is emerging. Now, Pisces, of course, is the last of the signs, and it is the most changeable, like the moon. Now, the moon card is, as you will know from watching tarot before, often shown with like a crawfish or a lobster or a crayfish or a crab climbing from out of the waters, and sometimes a scarab beetle is what we have here. And here we see the scarab beetle, which is carrying the sun. That is a reference to the ancient Egyptian. Oh, notice that this Honoroi thing here has an arm, which is like a crustacean arm. Now, of course, Pisces is very much associated with the subconscious, as is the moon itself. And Pisces is very much about the emotions, intuition, and artistry. And Pisces, well, one of its said co-rulers is that of Neptune, and Neptune's watery depths are associated with dreams, with visions, and the imagination, and I think that links it in quite well with that of the moon. But there may be a period here where this is something of a final testing for you. You've gone through lessons that you have learnt, and now maybe something's being put towards you to say, now just overcome this, which you do. Sometimes you've taken some wrong turns in your life, but there's also this feeling I get of illusion that's around here. Is it a reality or is it an illusion? There is the burning off of karma as well. Now, I should mention this karma card that we drew, and let's have a look at it. This karma card is, well, karma is, if you like, your spiritual bank account. It goes up, it goes down in accordance with things that you have done or things that you have failed to do, things that you have said or thought. Thoughts and words both have tremendous power, and they echo all throughout eternity. And your karma here, though, is, I think this is something of a payback time when things are going to be going well for you. I think that because of this peaceful, serene-looking face that's here. So the karmic balance which you have stored to date, you're making a withdrawal, and it's a withdrawal that's for your benefit, is what I see. Now, getting back to this thing of the moon here, I think what we also have, there's a period here where there is some interaction or struggle with things in your subconscious, and I am getting this from this 10 that's here as well. But I do think that you'll be passing over and through the threshold to new levels of consciousness, but not before maybe some period of mental confusion where you maybe lack total clarity in relation to a situation or to a person, or where around you there is some deception, is what I feel here. You see, I think that this suggests a time when something in your life is not as it appears to be, a situation that is deceiving. I might just mention, with respect to this Hebrew letter that's here, this Kof, well, look, that actually, interestingly, in Hebrew, originally meant the back of the head, or the eye of the needle. Now, in Hebrew, Kof also means monkey, and it is the symbol both of the sacred and the not sacred. It's like a husk which represents the negativities of the world. So this energy here has to do with the requirement of removing the husk of the superficial to reveal the holiness which is within you. Now, I mentioned that Kof also means monkey, a creature which resembles us humans, doesn't it? but it is still purely an animal with none of the higher capacities of a human. Now, I think that this says that there is a requirement for a human to overcome their purely animalistic nature and to emulate the image of the Creator that we are made in, to realize our true spiritual nature just beyond the physical. Now, Koph also, as I recall, means circle or to go around, and so it represents all the cycles of nature, just like the moon, changing seasons, monthly and yearly cycles. It is the constant movement, circulation, and change of life. It could also represent that through the cycles of life that we see, such as evolution, growth, change, suffering, happiness, life experience, through those things we are constantly worked on in order to evolve and realize our true spiritual nature. But just to return to your present situation, as I see it, it may be that you are, with respect to something, feeling a little bit lost or unsure about which way to go. Lost in the dark with no signposts. But as I say, this often represents the shadow self, the subconscious, or the hidden self. Now you understand that harboring negativity, maybe a negativity that you have suppressed or may not even be aware of, it needs some release. You need to release this destructive energy. And quite often, of course, these are feelings from childhood that have been repressed and are having a negative impact on your current situation. Nevertheless, I think you will be gifted in turning difficult situations into positive events, working through the difficult situations and relationship. Or you may be a romantic person who wants to not be deceived or deluded by others, but you will have little tolerance for self-deception or illusion. You will, however, have, during this period, an unusual magnetism and sexual attractiveness. Now, what inner regions feel strange, alien, or unknown to you? Where are your blind spots? And what experiences are you most afraid of? Say this to yourself: I enjoy making important decisions. I value honesty and integrity in relationships. I like what is mysterious within me and within others. I express myself fully and openly, like the moon, where it is responsible to do so. And through choice, I can change my experience. And even though I may think sometimes things are dark, I always know that it is darkest just before the dawn. Now, I said I would move to that Orphic egg, didn't I? And we have an Orphic egg, as I call it, but this Ten of Swords. Here we have the Sun in Gemini. I'll make a mention of that in just a moment. But here we have an Orphic egg being pierced by swords, separating and penetrating that hermaphrodite god Phanes, who was enclosed within this egg. Phanes, whose name meant to bring light, was a Greek god of fertility and procreation, who emerged from the cosmic egg entwined with a serpent. Now, this is the world of Chronos, of times, and here we also see swords stabbing into the head of the snakes that are there. Well, the Sun ruling Gemini. Well, here, that astrology, I've got to say, by itself is probably quite difficult, as Gemini disperses the energy of the Sun, and it can disperse your focus. Now, I think that this is here actually as a message to you rather than saying what's going on. This is something for you to recall here in mind, that to beware of letting your focus become entirely on the intellect, where there is a danger of it becoming unstable. Now, to me, this is saying that sometimes you just have to believe in yourself. Now, there is a very good chance that all you've ever been told or made to feel in life so far is that you can't do anything. That every time you even dared to dream that your life could be better, you were shot down or laughed at, made to feel small, made to feel useless, made to feel like an idiot for even thinking you could be more. Now, all of us, just as we thought something was in reach, have had a massive shadow of doubt thrown upon us, and normally by someone who's close to us, and it hurts, doesn't it? And then, in line with this suit of swords, the mental capacity, you've thought of the pain to get what you want, and your brain avoids it. And this is speaking, I think, of the dangers of negative thought that loop around and around and around in your head that come to you that become very dark, or which you consider to be a really bad thing, but you understand that nothing is either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. But when those bad things happen, what are you going to do? Are you going to allow that horrible situation to dictate how you feel about how you handle it? Are you going to fall over, fall down, fall apart? Or are you going to face this issue with courage and resolution? Now remember this, that you already know darkness, so embrace it. Embrace the darkness. Don't look away from it, own it. Walk one step after another. Never surrender. Remember that even the most wretched of times in your mind, don't pause. Remember not to stop. Remember not to hesitate. Take that first step and start walking. Always hold your head up high and let your spirit rise. You are a child of the divine. And don't allow yourself a switch off button. I know there is always an answer to things. Now, no matter how dark you may think that things are, or how dark the place may be that you may from time to time find yourself in, there is always a way out. Keep going. Hold on to that fundamental quality of faith. Have faith. Know that on the other side of your pain, there is something good. When you sit down at your kitchen table with pain, understand that in the other room, asleep on the couch, is joy, ready to wake up and come bursting into your life once more. Well, let's move it along quickly, shall we? And just quickly deal with this Hierophant, because we're running out of time. Those two cards took up more than we expected them to, did they not? Now, here underneath, of course, is the glyph for the sign of Taurus, which rules that card, and the Hebrew letter here is, what would that be? That's a vowel. That's like a nail or a peg or something. Here are the four signs of the fixed sign of water, being the eagle, the exalted form of Scorpio, the fixed sign of fire, being Leo, the fixed sign of earth, being Taurus, and the fixed sign of air, that's the face of the human, being Aquarius. Here are some, now the Hierophant's number in Roman numerals is 5, which looks like a V, and if we turn these V's around and keep moving them around, we get a thing which looks like a pentagram, and the pentagram forms the 4 directions plus a fifth dimension, which is the spirit. And there are 2 plinths here, and this, of course, is a nail coming through, where he basically is connecting heaven, if you like, into earth. Vowel also means nail, as we will get to. Oh, well, I may as well do it now, because we are pressing along. Now, Vowel is the power to unite everything that is separated in creation. Now, literally, Vowel means nail or hook or peg. And this letter, of course, is a vertical line, which looks just like a nail, doesn't it? It looks a vertical line like that nail that's there. Now, this is the vertical line extension of the Creator's perfection into the created world, in order to constantly direct it and guiding the cycle of existence step by step until eventually the perfect oneness of the Creator which underlies all of creation is revealed. Now, as the connector, thou contains the power to connect heaven and earth. It can be considered to be like a pipe which connects and bestows all of the energy and abundance from above, if I could put it that way, down to created beings. And it also represents the number 6, incidentally, in a letter. It's the 6th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, which in that Judeo-Christian and Islamic tradition refers to the 6 days of creation that were in chapter 1 of the book of Genesis, the first book of the Old Testament or the Hebrew Bible. I think this is a time when you don't want to be creating any revolutions, but rather kind of following rules and regulations and the traditions in your life, even if you don't necessarily agree with them. I think it's kind of good for the general vibe of the people that are around you, that you don't disturb them. Now is not the time to do that. There are other times to be controversial, I suppose. I see a lot of learning around here as well that's here. There is a transformation. I get the feeling of a group identity here, and certainly learning a lot and teaching here as well. You will be very gifted at getting information across to other people and inspiring others. And I think you'll have an unusual attraction to sounds and music this month, maybe more so than you ordinarily do. And you'll certainly be very good at listening and speaking. And you want to make your ideas practical. There's a deep desire within you to be challenged by new experiences. And I think during this time there's something of a search for the self that could lead you into spiritual realms. Involve yourself with the teachings of spiritual people, and you can see plenty of those on the internet. But say this to yourself: I honor the sacred within me. I am inspired by learning and teaching. I am creative and productive in my family and professional life. But there is only one voice listening to, the voice of my own heart. Now this next card has Libra all over it, as will become apparent to you. It's also got a lot of Virgo energy around here as well. This is the Queen of the Thrones of Water. And is there anything particularly esoteric going on? I don't think so, except to say that there is a cherub's head that's there. A cherub is like an angelic type of a creature. But, and look at this thing here. There is a severed head, which means maybe you're taking a mask away from you. Here is the signs of eternity, and here are the scales of Libra. Balance and adjustment, and these cirrus clouds are light, wispy against a blue background, speaking of happiness and freedom. So I think what you will be doing is cutting through old masks and roles. There's a great degree of clarity with you. You'll be quite intellectual, logical, and objective. You certainly will have put to death any of these things. By the way, with respect to these negative thoughts that sometimes come through for you, ask yourself 2 questions with respect to each thought. The first question to put to the thought is this thought useful? The second question to put to the thought is, how is this thought behaving? And what happened? Is this thought useful? How is this thought behaving? And you move from being judged by the thought or being a victim of the thought into the position where you are taking the front foot and you are judging the thought itself. And of course, these negative thoughts, they don't have any grounding in reality. You starve them of oxygen and they disappear. Anyway, back to this other card that's here. You know, I think that this is a time when you will be setting aside your masks and renouncing the security offered by playing familiar roles. And I think that this means giving up the voluntarily giving up habitual defense mechanisms. Now, by using the sword of penetrating insight, you come to recognize that the masks you wear not only protect and camouflage, but they also separate you from yourself and others. Now, energetic cutting through of your masks liberates you. And the Queen of Swords that's here, she leads you. When I say Queen of the, I think I call her Queen of the Thrones of Water. She's Queen of the Thrones of Air, of course. She liberates you and moves you out of the surrounding clouds into clarity and openness. Now you are in the position of separating yourself more and more from old roles and behavior patterns. This could bring some painful experiences, but it's worth it. And this clarity that you gain frees you. Which are the roles that you most easily and most often hide behind? Are you ready to drop them? Observe yourself. Look at yourself in different roles. Some of them you'll continue to play, but now with more awareness. And you'll play them until you no longer identify yourself with them. But say this to yourself: my only duty in life is to remain true to myself. And then that just leaves us with, I'll have to whip through this quickly, the Nine of Discs, which is Venus in Virgo. That's a great astrology, and I'll tell you in just a second why. But looking at here, there are two bees. And it also shows a couple of hands, and the hands are 5 and 4, which go up to 9. And 9 is the highest number of the single digits, and so it represents finalization and completion, fruition, 9 months in the womb before being born. And also 3 times 3. Now 3 is the number of extension and increase, so 9 is a number of fertility. And by showing 9 fingers, this card reminds you that 9 is the number of attainment and accomplishment. You're being asked to count your blessings, I think. Now these are being shown in round sections of honeycomb. Now this is obviously a way which enables beekeepers to store honey. And this is providing a great degree of sweetness and fertility and gain for you. Now, Venus is the planet associated with love and also with money. And these are expressions of your values, pleasures, tastes, aren't they? And Venus is saying if your heart is pure and you follow your heart, your life can only gain from this, and good fortune will accompany you. Now, Virgo is an earth sign, and it's associated with practical matters, discrimination, and organization. So there's rewards here for you. Bonded love relationships, wisdom, creativity. And it's particularly fruitful time for you.
Well, I personally found that to be fascinating, didn't you? What a lot of great things happening for you this month, and don't you deserve it? Surely you do, that's for sure. And it's going to be probably until now next month before there's your card goes back over there, that mode card. It won't be until next month now that I see you unless you contact me privately. So, but I would ask you this: if you did enjoy the reading, then on the way out, please hit the like button, because it helps the YouTube computer do things with the videos. You understand how that works. Probably a lot better than I do, I should say. But until I see you again, remember one thing, and it is this: that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. And until then, it's bye for now.